is a dying hue over our friendship. It shows the hectic dolphin colors of decay. Never do I leave you without thinking it's for the last time. My dearest Vita, I try to invent you for myself. I can get the sensation of seeing you. It is all rhythm. A sight, an emotion creates this wave in the body long before it makes the words to fit it. I say the whole day on love. I say the whole day on love. I say it's seeing things through a purple shade. If you'll make me up, I'll make you. If you'll make me up, I'll make you. If you'll make me up. I could revolutionize biography in a night. The biographer is now faced with a difficulty, which it is better perhaps to confess than to gloss over. We come to an episode which lies right in our path so that there is no ignoring it. Yet it is dark, mysterious, and undocumented so that there is no explaining it. It may be necessary to speculate, to surmise, to even make use of the imagination.
any longer one thing. Everything was partly something else, and each gained an odd moving power from this union of itself and something not itself. Nothing is any longer one thing. Everything was partly something else, and each gained an odd, moving power from this union of itself and something not itself. Nothing is any longer one thing. Everything was partly something else, and each gained an odd, moving power from this union of itself and something not itself. Nothing is any longer one thing. Everything was partly something else, and each gained an odd, moving power from this union of itself and something not itself. He, for there could be no doubt of his sex, though the fashion of the time did something to disguise it, was in the act of slicing at the head which swung from the rafters. He was 16 only, and too young to ride with his fathers who had come out of the northern mists wearing coronets on their heads. So he would steal away to his attic room, and there lunge and plunge and slice the air with his blade. Orlando had eyes like drenched violets, so large that the water seemed to have brimmed in them and widened them. Sights exalted him and made him in love with death. All these sights, the evening sky and the homing rooks and the garden sounds too, the hammer beating and the wood chopping, began a riot and confusion of the passions and emotions. To the oak tree he attached his floating heart. Gradually, the flutter in and about him stilled itself. The little leaves hung. The pale summer clouds stayed. The deer stopped. His limbs grew heavy on the ground, and he lay so still. That by degrees, the deer stepped nearer, and the rooks wheeled round him, and the swallows dipped and circled, and the dragonflies shot past, as if all the fertility and amorous activity of a summer's evening were woven web-like about his body. The queen had come! Different though the sexes are, they intermix. In every human being, a vacillation takes place between one sex and the other, and often it is only the clothes that keep the male or female lifeless. Orlando.
There sat a rather shabby man. He held a pen in his hand, but he was not writing. He seemed rather in the act of rolling some thought up and down, to and fro until it gathered shape or momentum to his liking. Was this a poet? Tell everything in the whole.
Orlando darted off and reached the banqueting hall just in time to sink upon his knees and hanging his head in confusion, to offer a bowl of rose water to the great queen herself. He saw no more of her than her ringed hand in water, but it was enough. It was a memorable hand. A thin hand with long fingers always curling as if round orb or scepter. A nervous, crabbed, sickly hand, a commanding hand. A hand attached to an old body that never flinched, though strung together by 1,000 fears. A hand that had only to raise itself for a head to fall. By the same showing, the queen herself can have seen only a head. But if it is possible from a hand to deduce a body, surely a head can be as fertile. The long curled hair, the dark head bent so reverently, implied violet eyes and a heart of gold. The old queen loved him. It was Orlando's fault, perhaps. Yet after all, are we to blame him? The age was the Elizabethan, their morals were not ours, nor their poets. Everything was different. Sunsets were redder. Dawns were whiter. Of our crepuscular half-lights and lingering twilights, they knew nothing. The poets sang beautifully how roses fade and petals fall. The moment is brief, they sang, the moment is over. One long night is then to be slept by all. Orlando was to be the son of the queen's old age. The limb of her infirmity, the oak tree of her degradation. She croaked out these promises, and strange, domineering tendernesses sitting bolt upright by her stiff brocades in the fire. But then came the great frost. Its nights were of perfect stillness. The moon and the stars blazed with the hard fixity of diamonds, and to the fine music of flute and trumpet, the courtiers danced. A figure, whether boys or women's, for the Russian fashion served to disguise the sex, filled him with the highest curiosity. Legs, hands, carriage were a boy's. But no boy ever had a mouth like that. No boy had those breasts. No boy had those eyes which looked at as if they had been fished from the bottom of the sea. Orlando stared, trembled, turned hot, longed to hurl himself through the summer air. What had he loved until now?
Close your eyes, make a wish, and go out again tonight. For tonight is just your night. We're gonna celebrate all through the night. Light the fire, girl, your wish is my command. I submit to your demands. I will do anything. Maybe only if I'll make love to you like you want me to, and I'll hold you tight, baby, all through the night. I'll make love to you when you want me to, and I will not let go till you tell me to. Let's go slow. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm just gonna concentrate on you, girl. Are you ready? It's gonna be a long night. I'm gonna use on the floor. I'm gonna take my legs off to you. I've been pledged to be with you. Whatever you want me to do, I can do. I will let you like you and me do. And I'll hold you tight, baby, all through the night. I'll make love to you when you want me. And I will not let go. You tell me to.
Jour de marvie? It was their signal. Everything was in readiness for their flight. Long before midnight, Orlando was in waiting. He could not bring himself to go indoors. The darkness was more compassionate to his swollen and violent heart. Suddenly he was struck in the face by a blow, soft yet heavy, on the side of his cheek. The river had gained its freedom in the night. All was riot and confusion. Standing knee-deep in water, he hurled at the faithless woman all of the insults that have ever been the lot of her sex. Faithless, mutable, fickle. He called her devil, adulterous deceiver. And the swirling waters took his words and tossed at his feet a broken pot and a little straw. The disease. He was a nobleman afflicted with a love of literature, gained rapidly upon him now in his solitude. He was apt to take himself off to his private room alone. There he would have out an old writing book stitched together with silk stolen from his mother's workbox and labeled in a round schoolboy hand, "The Oak Tree," a poem. But as he scratched out as many lines as he wrote in, the sum of them at the end was rather less than at the beginning. And it seemed as if in the process of writing, the poem would be completely unwritten.
Close your eyes, make a wish, and go out again tonight. For tonight is just your night. We're gonna celebrate all through the night. Pour wine, light the fire. Girl, you wish is my command. I submit to your demands. I will do anything you need only. I'll make love to you like you want me to, and I'll hold you tight.
It is these pauses that are our undoing. One day he was adding a line or two with enormous labor to the oak tree, a poem, when a shadow crossed the tail of his eye. realizing that steps must be taken to end the matter instantly, Orlando did what any other young man would have done in his place and asked King Charles to send him as ambassador extraordinary to Constantinople. In Constantinople, the same ceremonies were gone through in exactly the same order. Rumors gathered around Orlando. He became the adored of many women and some men. But this romantic power, it is well known, is often associated with a nature of extreme reserve. It was known that Orlando still carried with him in the bosom of his cloak a much scored manuscript. The Oak Tree, a poem. whether then Orlando was most man or woman, it was difficult to say, and cannot now be decided. She returned to her home, where no one showed an instant suspicion that Orlando was not the Orlando they had known. Orlando roamed once more through the halls, the galleries, the courts, the bedrooms, bathed her hand as she had loved to do as a child in the yellow pool of light, which now curved like a shell round the figure. Was it a boy's or a girl's? In Russian trousers, young, slender, seductive. thousand hints and mysteries became clear to her that were then dark.
I am growing up.
Change seemed to have come over the climate of England. Rain fell frequently. The air was so saturated with water that its beams were purple. Orlando could feel herself poisoned through and through. She was forced to consider the most desperate of remedies. The most desperate of remedies! And take a husband. Some strange ecstasy came over her. Some wild notion she had about following the birds to the rim of the world.
Or it would seem that we write not with the fingers, but with the whole body. The nerve which controls the pen winds itself about every fiber of our being. It threads the heart. It pierces the liver.
Then the lights went out, and the stars rose and tangled themselves about the sky.
Nothing.
Nothing is any longer one thing. Each gained an odd, moving power from this union of itself and something not itself. Towering against the yellow-slashed sky at dawn, she saw. ferny path led with many turns and windings, higher and higher to the oak tree, which stood at the top. Flinging herself on the ground, she felt the roots of the tree reaching out like ribs from the spine this way and that way beneath her. A little black book bound in red cloth fell from the breast of her leather jacket. Her poem, The Oak Tree. Was not writing poetry a secret transaction? A voice answering a voice. What could have been more secret, more slow, and like the intercourse of lovers than the stammering answer she had made all these years? Ecstasy! Ecstasy.
There's like one for each audience. One. So fun to have you guys. Thank you very much for coming. Good to see you all. I don't know if you noticed behind you too, that's our queen, a Muslim of her outfit. So this is like a stand. This is a developed show on its own, but then we're also looking at developing a version that has a queen as well. So we started working with Lucinda Childs to see if she would be our queen. We had a good rehearsal with her. We have a photo to share if anybody wants to see it. And that's it. Sorry, I think we might have been quiet over. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.